changing completely the technical approach when we would like to jump is exactly one of the main program in sport, how to change the ability to jump and to move from this side, and like if we have a brain just from a morphological point of view, to a completely different point of view, to change the brain and to change the perspective to change the brain. And if you look this, you have to move from this brain, this is exactly the same brain, this is a morphological representation of the brain, without any possibility to analyze how it's possible to change connection inside the brain, to connectomics. Connectomics means a lot of things, but means more or less the possibility to change part of the brain where we have motor control using stimulation due to color, to sound, to food, or to emotion. And if you would like to use this like a window to be able to move more deeply and to change the perspective that we have of our body inside the brain. Inside the brain, the body is a representation of the internal perception of the patient, and in the same time it's possible to change the internal perception of the body using different stimulation outside of the body. And now I will try to explain and to show you something like exactly when you try to look. This is a movie where it's possible to see different perspective of the same woman using a different window. First example, the hand. When we have to use a smartphone like this one, now we have to divide people between people that generally use in the next nature policies or index. Index means that you have more than 40 years. Policies means that you have less than 20. Means that when you have to approach exactly the same device and you have exactly the same number of digits, you will use different strategies depending on your age. Then maybe that by this way it's possible that if someone due to neurological disease, for example, will have to change the strategy and without index have to do something like this, we have inside the brain a different possibility to modulate motor control and to move from one digit to the other one. This is very important. It's very important if you look the problem of motor control when you have your hand, maybe exactly the same when you have to look the problem you don't have your hand and you have a prosthesis, for example. How to control a prosthesis, particularly if you would like to check how to control a prosthesis when you develop more and more the control of prosthesis to be more natural for people to use something that is not exactly the hand. I think that if in this moment I ask you, the people that attend this meeting, who very recently performed more than 10 kilometers without stop, I think that no one. There is Vico Valassi, just to, no? This is a very nice group where there is a lot of people, but there is this woman too. This woman is a woman with a complete spinal cord injury, totally unable to control the lower limb, that decide to use a wearable robotics exoskeleton to perform 11 kilometers without stop. This is during the training in Naples, and this is exactly more or less 1 year ago on the outside of this campus when finished the race and reached the goal of the best performance around the world using wearable robotics. Or look this one. This is another wearable robotic system. Paolo Moccarelli somebody said we have a problem of fertility because we have less people that decide to enjoy the wedding. It's possible to use a system like this to enjoy the wedding. This is another complete spinal cord injury patient that decide to be trained to enjoy the wedding in standing position and to move in using this one. This is a symbolic approach. Means that the future of technology is to have something able to perform something, but it's very important this symbolic approach between people and technology. Means that sometimes it's more important maybe the posture of the patient than the performance of the patient. For this woman, was very important to move in standing position because the husband don't have any information about this. Expect the woman in a wheelchair. Then it's not a problem of velocity, it's not a problem of performance, it's a symbolic approach to the technologies. Then this is the real future of technology, to move from impossible to possible, from unable to able. Again, this is Sebastian Vettel, the new driver of Ferrari. I think that we have a lot of problem with people with disability about how to drive a car. Then we have a lot of different solution, and special drive license and so on. But very recently, Google started a program to be able to control a car without human interaction. And very recently, they published some results that the car accidents during the test were due to the driver, not due to the Google car driver control. That means that, again, now, in the near future, if someone without the ability to control the upper limb and without the ability to control the lower limb too, will be able to drive a car and to decide to move from a place to the other one without any special license. This is the future of technologies that we have to face. And maybe that when we discuss about aging population means how it's possible to increase communication. And when we discuss about aging population and population with different people from different countries in the same place, means that we have to check how it's possible to increase the value of the community. Then the value of the community is more important than communication. Means that communication is a value if increase the value of the community. And the value of the person too. That is a problem of value. Then symbolic approach to technology, value of the community that we are able to build up using technologies. And this is, I think that is not exactly a typical old woman inside the home, because we have to be careful that to medicalize all the rooms is not exactly a solution. I totally agree with Paolo about no nursing home, but in the same time, don't mean that we have to transform the rooms, the home, the social community in a very large hospital where we have everything under control, just with the main goal to maintain under control the health of the people that live in. This is one of the possibilities, but it's not just the possibility to do this. We have a lot of different possibilities to monitor, to manage, to produce a lot of information, but in the same time, we have the possibility to use very simple system, for example, to analyze not major problem, but maybe posture. This is Lumo, is one of the gadgets that is possible to have, able to detect if in sitting position you have a distortion of your posture, then you have to change and to reduce the possibility to have back pain, for example, and to improve your ability to control your body in sitting position. Or try to think the possibility to analyze automatically facial expression too. Maybe more important than to have blood pressure, because happiness may be more important than maintain under control diabetes, hypertension, and so on. And maybe that if you are happy, maybe that you will have less problem, and maybe very important to detect facial expression inside a meeting room. And there's another possibility to analyze, for example, using Fitbit or other very simple device, wearable device, able to detect the number of steps when the patient, the people start to sleep and so on, and the quality of sleep too. But we will have very soon new technologies. This is an electronic skin. Electronic skin may be a revolution, because the skin is a very large part of the body that produces a contact and interaction with the environment. Then we will have a lot of possibility to use electronic skin and to increase the ability not to monitor but to detect maybe the quality of life of the patient and maybe emotion too of the patient of people. And when we stay in a place like this one, maybe very important, this is white, we have light, outside we have mountain, we have an excellent overview outside, and there is a lot of data that cognitive performance are related to color and to the place where people stay. Then when we discuss a lot about how it's possible to prevent Alzheimer's disease or how it's possible to prevent depression, a lot of genetic tests, MRI, fMRI, and the family, other people inside the family with the same problem and so on. But what about the possibility to change completely the 50% of food type that you described, Paolo, before, using different place where people stay? It's very important, because if this is important in a meeting room, may be more important during daily life. And when we discuss about daily life, may be completely different. The perception of the patient, the quality of life, the happiness, if you stay in New York, or if you stay in India, or if you stay on a very nice island. And this is absolutely true, but it's so true that very recently Ericsson, using a questionnaire around the world, checked the perception of people in different parts of the world about the perception of wellness, perception of health and cosmetics, and relationship between people and technologies. And realized that, first of all, in Asia, generally people are more happy than in Europe and US. Then we are looking something like this versus something like this. And that in Asia, they are happy for wellness per se, more than from cosmetic point of view. And European and US people are more related to cosmetics. Then we have to put our face in the new technologies. Maybe possible to put new technologies inside the home to perform exercise. To perform exercise using this one is a very nice robot able to move around the home, and using this is possible to have a connection. This is the nephew, this is the grandmother. It's possible to play together even if they stay in different places. Then means that using new technologies, the problem of the place and the time and timing change completely. Change completely time, timing, and place, and then relationship between people to enjoy the life and to perform exercise in different places in a specific way. Then maybe that at the end of the story, if you look the problem of different ability, not disability, different ability and technologies, is a problem of perception, of the mindset, of emotion, of behavior. It's not a problem of function. It's a problem of behavior. Then we have to change the behavior of people more than function. And then when we look the problem of different ability, the problem is different behavior, not different function. And how to manage different behavior means that we have to mix robotics and human in the best way to have a service, and using converging technologies may be possible to do this, because the future will be to mix nanotechnologies with biotechnology, with information technology, because information technology is the way to increase the brain when you use nano and biotechnology, and cognitive science. It's very important to have cognitive science in maybe a philosophical point of view, because when you look the brain inside is very complex, and you have a lot of relationship that it's impossible to divide one place to the other one. And when you have to look something, you have to look something about a lot of different perception and sensation. And one of the most important is the ability to hear something and the smell. Smell may be one of the most important perception for people. Try to think how it's possible to influence people that have to move from one room to the other one. Change the smell of the room. And by this way it's possible to reduce or to change or to increase the mobility of the people inside the house maybe, or outside the house, to force people to move around, but inside the house too. And when we look smell and subliminal smells, you have to check perceptual learning too, and perceptual learning too change the cognitive approach. And we have a lot of information from athletes too, and we are able, using different information, perceptual and cognitive approach, to change the ability of the patient, of people to perform something. Then if we have to change behavior, we have to change inside, but we have to change outside too. This is like an Oculus Rift, magic glasses to have 3D virtual reality immersion. Means that you stay in sitting position and you think that you are moving around your house, and it's possible to plan how to move inside the house and how to have different perception of the movement inside the house. And in the same time, we have another possibility. When we are doing something like this, using different technologies, what is the attention of the people that are performing something? It's possible. This is a commercial device, very simple commercial device, low cost, able to detect using just one electrode and an algorithm change on attention of the people that are doing something. Then may be possible to perform something inside the house and to detect if people that are doing something change the attention. Try to think a lot of discussion about how to prevent fall. You have to think that about 70% of the fracture of the hip on people over 65 or 70 years old in Germany are due to fall inside the hospital. Means that inside the hospital, the attention of the people change, and due to this, they move in for other reasons, and they have major problems due to less attention that they need to manage the situation. in a different place, compare hospital versus the home. What is this? This is a brain of a person during sound stimulation. Means that just using sound, it's possible to stimulate a lot of different areas of the brain. What means this? Means, for example, this is Francesco Gallone. He's a patient. He's a very nice guy. He's a guy with some problem in terms of motor control due to CP, cerebral palsy. And Francesco, some months ago, said, Franco, I would like to enjoy newspaper, but I have some problem to use my hand, and I have some problem to use the digital edition of the newspaper because it's not so easy for me to move the mouse and so on. And I know that there is the possibility to have an audio newspaper, but one of the key problems is that generally people that have to reverse information from the paper or from the internet to audio using a synthetic system to do this. Then I am a very nice guy. It is not so good to have just a synthetic voice when I would like to read something. Then I will prefer if someone, maybe the journalist too, will be able to speak and to read the paper, and I will have the possibility to use the audio journal to enjoy all the day the news from the newspaper without the need to use my hand. And I say, yes, I totally agree with you, but we have another key problem. You are young, but when you will have 75 years, the velocity of the speaker may be a problem. Because if I start to speak very quickly, maybe that someone is able to understand, but if you have any problem to understand English, may be better if I try to speak slowly. Then we discuss with the RAI Research Center, and we have now a system able to change the velocity of the speaker depending on the need of the people that would like to enjoy audio newspaper. Then may be possible to use 90% of the velocity, 80% of the velocity, 70% of the velocity without any change on the tone. Then this is another key point, and when we discuss with TV Vision, the Italian TV Vision, they say that this is a key problem for TV Vision too, because in the aging population is a problem during the when they start the news. People just for 1 or 2 minutes follow the speaker, and then due to velocity they stop to follow the speaker. Yes, absolutely. I plan everything exactly on time. And who is this? This is Cynthia Brazil from MIT, Boston. This is Jibo robot, is a companion robot, but Cynthia Brazil is working particularly about the voice of the robot to maintain a friendly communication. It's more important the voice than the shape and the volume of the robot. And it's possible to use it to support people in a lot of different things. Then, as you realize, we have the problem of big data. Due to this, a lot of technologies, a lot of data, the problem is the big data. But I think that the problem is not just the weight or the volume of the data. Maybe the quality and how to analyze the data too may be very important. Maybe more important to analyze the context where the data start and how it's possible to analyze the quality of the data, and by this way to influence people that produce the data too. Then we have to change completely how to analyze the data. And this is an auto-generating mapping of information about people with spasticity of the upper limb. If you introduce in a automatic analysis just few data, this is the representation of the people in this way. And this is if you introduce more and more data, then you enrich completely the ability to describe the problem of the patient using something like dressing, the ability to dress, to reach the mouth, to use a pen and so on. Then it's possible if you increase the number of data and to organize the data to have a real picture of the data too. And this is the functional infrastructure that we need. Without infrastructure, it's impossible to think that we will use technologies in the right way, and it's impossible to think that really technologies will change our life, particularly in terms of social value, that in this moment is more important than personal value too. Then we have to move from high-tech to wide-tech. Why technologies? Not just high technologies. Why to use it? In which way? And then I think that now I finish, we have to move from high-tech to aesthetic. This is the book of Benedetto Croce about aesthetics. We have to move deeply to understand why we have to use technologies and how we have to develop technologies to have a lot of possibility to change the social value of the society that is changing day by day. Thank you very much for your attention. Non è stato semplicissimo passare